Hey, what's up, Doodle Clubbers and Chroma Clubbers? Today, what we're going to do is talk about how to start a successful club. Now, this is a question I get a lot about, hey, I started a club and no one wants to join it, or I started a club and all my members are inactive. So, this is going to be a series of different videos on how to successfully start and run a club inside Doodle Club or Chroma Club. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at kind of a club that's relatively new and it's had some success, and that's called Font Code Club. It started by Neon Spark, and basically the club was something that was related to something that Neon was interested in. And I think that's something you have to consider when you start your club is find a topic, find a theme that you are passionate about, that you're interested in, but also can relate to other that's something that you're passionate about that you can then share with everyone else inside Doodle Club and Chroma Club, that they could resonate, they can relate to it. So if you start an RP club and you do role play projects, if you can choose a theme for role play that actually works with or resonates with a lot of people inside Chroma Club and Doodle Club. Now, I understand doing it this way doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to create something completely innovative or new, but it's going to give you experience on how to run a club, what people respond to, how to actually then, when you get that unique or genius idea, how to create that, turn that into a club that actually will work. And that's what I've done with video games. There's some games that I like that a lot of people don't like. And there's some games that a lot of people like, but I don't want to make. So you want to find a concept that you like. And when you first start that club, what you want to do is you want to set the standard, right? Do projects yourself. Don't try to be like, hey, I'm starting a club, let's everyone join. Set the tone of like, okay, this is an awesome club. And so that's what Font Code Club did. If you look at their projects, what Neon did was initially just started releasing projects on how to use font codes. And what was cool is that this was something that people wanted to know. These are questions, the font code questions are things that I would always get on my wall. It's like, okay, well, how do you start, or how do you do this font? How do you do that code? How do you do this or that or blah, blah, blah. So what Neon did was set the tone and said, okay, look, I am going to create a project that provides value to other people inside Doodle Club and Chroma Club. So when people read the project, they'd be like, wow, I didn't even know how to do this. I learned something cool and awesome. So I'm going to fan it. And what you see is that they've got a lot of club fans. So anyways, once Neon did that, people wanted to join. But Neon was very specific about this and maybe learned a lesson from running a previous club. By the way, this isn't Neon's first club. Neon did previous clubs before, learned through them, and now created this club that seems to be really popular and resonating with the community. And so people wanted to join, but Neon only added players that would actually add to the club's mission, to the club's purpose. And so if they couldn't help contribute projects to make cool font code projects or projects related to font codes, they weren't added into the club. And so this is something you have to also consider is that, look, you need to make a club that isn't, look, the number of members in a club doesn't mean it's successful. Okay? The definition of success in a club, you should actually define what the definition of a success is. And for some clubs, if it's an RP club or role play club, then yeah, the number of active members in the club probably determines its success. With this Font Code Club, this isn't about role play. This is about creating projects that actually influence and inspire the rest of the Doodle Club and Chroma Club community. And in that case, what you have to do is you have to say, okay, well, really, success is getting really talented members who can help or have unique understanding of font codes that can then create projects, or we can create projects together that resonate with the rest of the community. And so you look at it, even though they've got a ton of fans, and I'm sure they've got a ton of people applying to their club, they only have 4 club members. And each of those club members count, right? Like they're really active and they're contributing to these projects. And and so they create these projects, and so these members allow them to create more projects that are actually interactive and attract more fans. and and you look, and by the way, Neon talked to me and said, like, look, I've, after like 8 or 9 projects, Neon came to me and said, look, what am I going to do? I'm going to run out of projects to do, related to font codes. But the cool thing is that now that it's kind of like a vibrant community around the club, people give them ideas on, hey, can you do this font code project? Can you do that font code project? Or what they also did was figure out, okay, well, look, let's create competitions, and they've had competitions related to font codes. They're managing their own community and their fans around their club. And that's another thing you need to consider, is that as a club, you need to consider, okay, how are you going to keep your fans engaged? How are you going to keep them active? So these are other things you need to consider, but we will discuss more on how to run a successful club in part 2 of this series. But once again, to summarize, what you want to do is you want to create a theme that actually works for you, but also resonates with the community, that people can benefit from. And then also you want to create projects that contribute to the community, or that resonate with the theme of your club. When Font Code Club got started, they created projects that related to doing font codes. And then what was really cool is that in the comments of these projects, you could actually test the font codes they were giving you. And that's how you want to do it, is you want to make it so that people, when they go through your projects, or they experience your projects, they actually benefit. They can actually create stuff related to what your project is about. And then finally, people started wanting to apply to Font Code Club, but Neon was very specific and had high standards for the club. And you know what? If you have members and they're not participating, I'm sure, and this is what I do with my club, by the way. I have the Doodle Club Design Club. What I do is I just kick them out. You have to have standards, because if it's not a club that feels active and creates stuff and contributes, then people just don't even show up anyways. So being nice to people inside the club doesn't work. And in fact, I think that's what I'm going to cover in the next part of this series, is that how you need to manage the members and your fan community inside the club. Okay, well, that's it for today. If you have any questions, or if you have anything that you want me to cover related to how to run a successful club, post them in the comments below. Thanks.